Welcome back to part 13 of our AZ-900 series. These questions are based on what real candidates are seeing in the exam right now. If you can solve these, you're in a great position to pass. Question 66. Which of the following is the responsibility of Microsoft while using Azure Virtual Machines? Select the correct option. The options are A, physical security, B, application controls, C, network controls, D, identity and access management. This question tests your understanding of the Azure Shared Responsibility Model, specifically for infrastructure as a service IaaS offerings like Azure Virtual Machines. You need to identify which security responsibility belongs to Microsoft versus the customer. The correct answer is A, physical security. Physical security is Microsoft's responsibility when using Azure Virtual Machines. According to the Azure Shared Responsibility Model, Microsoft is responsible for securing the underlying cloud infrastructure, including physical data centers, hardware, network infrastructure, and the physical hosts that run your virtual machines. Why the other options are customer responsibilities. B, application controls. Customers must secure their own applications, patch management, and application level security. C, network controls. In IaaS, virtual machines, customers are responsible for configuring NSGs, firewalls, VPNs, and network segmentation. D, identity and access management. Customers control who can access VMs, manage user accounts, configure RBAC roles, and handle authentication. Quick takeaway. For Azure VMs, IaaS, Microsoft secures the physical infrastructure below your VM, data centers, hosts, physical networks, while you secure everything on and above your VM, OS, apps, data, identities, network rules. Physical security equals Microsoft's job. If this video is helping you, support us by hitting the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Question 67. What Azure tool gives you the ability to manage multiple subscriptions into nested hierarchies? Select the correct option. The options are A, Azure Active Directory, AD, B, Role-Based Access Control, C, Resource Groups, D, Management Groups. This question tests your knowledge of Azure's organizational hierarchy and which tool allows you to manage multiple subscriptions together. The key phrase is multiple subscriptions into nested hierarchies. You need a tool that operates above the subscription level. The correct answer is D, management groups. Management groups are the correct answer because they are specifically designed to manage multiple subscriptions in nested hierarchies. Management groups work at a level above your Azure subscriptions, allowing you to control multiple subscriptions under one or more umbrellas known as management groups. Azure provides 4 levels of management scope in this hierarchy. 1. Management groups, top level, can contain other management groups or subscriptions. 2. Subscriptions can contain resource groups. 3. Resource groups can contain resources. 4. Resources, bottom level, VMs, storage accounts, etc. Why the other options are incorrect. A, Azure Active Directory handles identity and access management, user authentication, but doesn't organize subscriptions into hierarchies. B, RBAC assigns roles and permissions, but doesn't create organizational hierarchies. It works with management groups. C, resource groups, containers for resources within a single subscription. They cannot span or organize multiple subscriptions. Quick takeaway. Management groups equals subscription organization tool. They sit above subscriptions in the Azure hierarchy and let you create nested structures to manage multiple subscriptions together with inherited policies and permissions. To get the free PDF or mock test, comment PDF or mock or both. I will share the downloadable link within the next 24 hours. Question 68. You are planning to deploy Azure Security Services using multi-factor authentication, MFA, in your cloud solution. How does MFA enhance security in Azure? The options are A, it requires a smart card. B, it requires approval through the Microsoft Authenticator app. C, it requires you to change the password after every successful login. D, it requires password complexity. This question tests your understanding of how Azure multi-factor authentication works and what makes it effective as a security enhancement. The key concept is that MFA requires a second form of verification beyond just a password. The correct answer is B. It requires approval through the Microsoft Authenticator app. Microsoft Authenticator app approval is the correct answer because it represents one of the primary methods Azure MFA uses to enhance security by requiring a second authentication factor. Based on the information gathered, multi-factor authentication is a process in which users are prompted during the sign-in process for an additional form of identification. This approach dramatically enhances security because even if someone steals or guesses your password, they cannot complete the sign in without physical access to your registered mobile device to approve the authentication request. Why the other options are incorrect. A. Smart card. While smart cards can be used for MFA, they are not required. Azure MFA supports multiple methods, including phone calls, SMS, authenticator apps, and oath tokens. C. Changing password after every login. MFA does not require password changes after each login. It requires a second factor during login, but passwords remain the same. D. Password complexity. Password complexity is a separate security control, not an MFA feature. MFA adds a second factor regardless of password complexity. Quick takeaway. Azure MFA enhances security by requiring two factors, something you know, password, plus something you have, phone with Authenticator app. The Microsoft Authenticator app is one of the most convenient and secure methods, using push notifications that users must approve on their registered device. Question 69. Your on-premises network contains an Active Directory with 100K user accounts. You are planning to migrate all network resources to Azure to decommission the on-premises data center. You need to recommend a solution to minimize the impact on users after the planned migration. What should you recommend? The options are A. Instruct all users to change their password. B. Sync all the Active Directory user accounts to Azure Active Directory, Microsoft Entra ID. C. Create a guest user account in Azure Active Directory, Microsoft Entra ID for each user. D. Implement Azure multi-factor authentication. This question tests your understanding of how to minimize user disruption when migrating from on-premises Active Directory to Azure. The key phrase is minimize the impact on users. You need a solution that maintains user experience and requires minimal user action. The correct answer is B. Sync all the Active Directory user accounts to Azure Active Directory, Microsoft Entra ID. Syncing all Active Directory user accounts to Azure AD using Azure AD Connect is the correct solution for minimizing user impact during migration. According to exam discussions and Microsoft documentation, synchronizing all the Active Directory user accounts to Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, can minimize the impact on users after the planned migration. Here's why syncing minimizes impact. Seamless transition. No user action required. Hybrid identity. Why the other options have higher impact. A. Password changes. Requires all 100,000 users to take action, causing significant disruption and help desk burden. C. Guest accounts. Create separate identities requiring new credentials. Users lose access to their existing accounts and data. D. MFA. While important for security, implementing MFA requires users to register devices and adds extra steps to authentication, increasing impact rather than minimizing it. Quick takeaway. For migrating 100K users from on-premises AD to Azure AD with minimal impact, use Azure AD Connect to sync accounts. This preserves existing credentials, enables seamless authentication to both on-premises and cloud resources, and requires zero action from end users. Question 70. You are planning the deployment of 2 Azure virtual machines, VMs, for a short project. You need to allow your IT technician assistants the ability to only start and stop virtual machines related to the project. Which solution represents the least amount of administrative effort? The options are A. Deploy VMs to one resource group. Assign the role to the resource group. B. As each new VM is created, assign a role. C. Assign the role to the entire Azure subscription. D. Create multiple Azure subscriptions. Deploy each VM into its own subscription. This question tests your understanding of Azure RBAC scope best practices and efficient resource management. The key phrase is least amount of administrative effort while still maintaining appropriate access control. The correct answer is A. Deploy VMs to one resource group. Assign the role to the resource group. Deploying VMs to one resource group and assigning the role at the resource group level is the most efficient solution because it follows Azure RBAC best practices for scoping and minimizes administrative overhead. Here's why this is optimal. Minimal effort. You only need to assign the role, like virtual machine contributor or a custom role with start-stop permissions, once at the resource group scope. This single assignment automatically applies to both VMs and any additional VMs you add to the project later. Azure RBAC permissions inherit down from the resource group to all resources within it. Appropriate scope. According to Azure RBAC best practices, you should use a narrow scope, such as resource group or resource, instead of a broader scope, such as management group or subscription. And grant users the least privilege to get their work done. A resource group scope is perfect for a project-specific requirement. It's narrow enough to limit access to only project VMs, but broad enough to avoid repetitive assignments. Resource groups are designed for this. Resource groups exist specifically to organize related resources that share the same lifecycle, permissions, and management. A short project with related VMs is the textbook use case for a resource group. Why the other options require more effort? B. Assign per VM requires 2 separate role assignments initially, plus 1 more for each new VM added. Much more administrative overhead. C. Subscription scope. Too broad. Gives access to all VMs in the subscription, not just project VMs. Violates least privilege principle. D. Multiple subscriptions. Massively excessive for just 2 VMs. Subscriptions have management overhead, billing complexity, and would require separate role assignments anyway. Quick takeaway. For project-based resources with specific access requirements, always use resource groups as your management and RBAC assignment boundary. 1 role assignment at the RG level equals minimal effort plus appropriate scope.